This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, episode 49.
In life, it's all about the process, and I think it's not about being right; it's about doing it right.
This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, where you get to see the realistic side of a trader's journey. Get inspired and stay motivated by everyday normal people who are currently on their journey to trading success. And this is your host,
who firmly believes Sour Patch Kids contain crack cocaine,
Clay Trader.
Now, when I have some time, I'm going to break out the little laboratory kit that I don't have, and I'm going to do a chemical test on these Sour Patch Kids because I am convinced that they do have crack cocaine. There's been many things where I've out-eaten them, meaning, wow, this is really good, and then I just eat it, and I'm like, I don't really like that anymore. But Sour Patch Kids, I've liked them since I was a wee little lad. And at this point, I still love them just as much. So I don't know what's in Sour Patch Kids, but I'm convinced there's some sort of narcotic in there that just has me hook, line, and sinker because I eat a lot of them. So, Ches, are you a fan of Sour Patch Kid? Oh, by the way, everybody, Ches is our esteemed host. I always forget that part now since we're an episode like a lot. So I just figure that people know who this guy is. But Ches is our co-host, and he's a decent human being. But Sour Patch Kids, thoughts?
It's funny you mentioned that. I had Sour Patch Kids every day as the candy when I bought lunch for school. But the thing is that I always bought the Sour Patch watermelon one specifically. So those are my thing, and I'm not afraid to admit that I do watch what I eat much better now. But still on Saturdays when it is my cheat day, I still buy Sour Patch watermelons generally. So I'm with you there. There might actually be some crack cocaine in it, and I look forward to your results when you publish them.
Yeah. You got a laboratory kit laying around? Because I'm going to need one of those.
I'm going to put that on my wedding registry, so I'll have it later this year.
Maybe I'll buy you that, and then I'll try it. So if you get that,
then we'll do the test then.
Up, it wasn't me, okay? It wasn't me. That was just a coincidence. But let's actually move into talking about today's show, which is a great interview. Today we are talking with Ricky. He goes by the same name in the chat room, and a lot of good little nuggets of wisdom. Ches and I had to kind of backtrack quite a bit. He'd go on these kind of little epic portions of his story, and then we'd go back and talk about a lot of the little quotes he gave. So a lot of good little hidden gems, especially if you are new. A lot of things from that perspective of, what he realized and what, if, like I said, if you are new, will hopefully save you some kind of time and headaches. So again, we are talking with Ricky. Let's hop right in. Ricky, welcome to the podcast.
How are you guys?
I'm doing pretty well. Ches,
doing pretty good. I didn't get hit with the snowpocalypse out here in California, so
impolite.
Yeah, 70 degrees out here, no snowpocalypse for me, so it's all good.
That's true. At the time of this recording is when that big blizzard is going on the Northeast. Where are you at, Ricky?
I'm located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So
all right, screw you.
We don't got to worry about all that.
I don't want to hear about it. All right, we should end this right now. Two, I'm looking out my window. I see snow, cold weather. Actually, it's kind of nice here today. And by nice, I mean 38 degrees. So it's warming up here a little bit. But whatever. Got a Florida guy and a Southern California guy. So this is fantastic. So, all right, Ricky, let's just start right at the get-go. Have you listened to these before? Anybody's past interviews?
Yeah,
so you kind of know
where.
So you know where we're going to start. I mean, we're going to start right at the beginning. What got you interested in the markets and what was kind of going on that made you finally decide, you know what, I actually want to transition from just being interested to actually trying, my hand at this whole stock market thing?
Well, I was introduced to the markets when I was in high school, and I had a economic class, and we did like a little paper trading on that just as an assignment. So that's where I was first introduced to the markets. But then 3 years passed, and I didn't do anything with it. And then I got interested again. There was a buddy of mine I used to work with. He invested money into that, and he would talk about it. But until 2014 is when I actually started trading.
So you got interested in, I swear, we've had quite a few people that, Ches, correct me if I'm wrong, that start off in economics class in high school. They do the whole like paper portfolio thing, and that actually kind of sparks their interest. So I guess to any economics teachers out there listening, well done. Way to spark that interest.
Continue to do that, because a ton of people actually, that's what seems to kind of spark their interest. And I wouldn't doubt at all if that's from just the the concept of, they're supposed to research these names and kind of, pretty much buy and hold it until the end of the year. But then they see that, wow, I could have made, a couple $100, a couple $1,000, whatever it is. But, if you do the research and find, names that are moving, it's a good chance you can make some money. So yeah, continue to do that, econ teachers out there in the world.
How'd you do, Rick? How'd you do with it though, Ricky? Did you like throw it
I
all in
did
a
pretty
penny
well.
stocks, or where do you place
No,
in regards to
I
your class?
I never got into penny stocks. I just trade like the blue chip names as Apple and everything else. I really didn't take it that serious, man. I really wasn't big in school and education. But until 2014, I got a job. I've been working at this place for over 9 years, and I realized that it was time to start maybe investing my money or putting it into a 401k. But I figured nobody is going to take care of my money the way I will. And I feel like if I could learn it myself, there's longevity in that, and I enjoy the process of learning and figuring it all out. And I mean, obviously, movies come out and different things become appealing, but I just wanted to learn that side of the spectrum, and it's
Let, let,
addicting.
let me ask you this. So, because you made an interesting comment, you weren't in a school, you didn't, whatever. I mean, you made the comment. You sound like a typical high school student. I get it. I think everybody listening gets it. But then you made the comment you enjoy the process of trying to learn all this stuff. So, what's different here? I mean, you were doing that stuff in that econ class, but I mean, so where's kind of was there something that happened, or I guess just how would you explain the big difference?
I can give you a quick rundown. This is gonna take away from trading, but when I was 15 years old, my father went to prison, um, and I dealt with a lot of stuff growing up. My mother was diagnosed with cancer, um, and then I had to be a man, basically, be a man of the house. Get started working under the table. When I turned 16, I got a job, which I'm still currently that job. I started as a busser, and now I'm a general manager. And yeah, it's just once I graduated and real life started happening. My dad's is out now, but he was still in prison during that time. So then I really started investing in myself and my real education and what do I love, what do I enjoy, and I started reading books. And then I really wanted to pursue a purposeful life, a balanced life, and just kind of be able to help others because that's my main thing is just helping others. And in school, I never really got that connection. If they could change the way school is and just make it about life and just becoming a better person, I think I would have been more interested. But they didn't really sell it to me when I was in high school.
Yeah, and just the fact that you kind of hit it on the head when you said, I had to become a man right there. So, you're kind of forced to learn things in school, but as you get older, I was the same way, disliked high school and all of that. But then once I got out of college, I actually spent more time focusing on things I wanted to learn about, and it's so much easier to learn when you're interested. And so, the fact that you realized that you had to be in full, control of your finances, it's not hard to find that drive and that motivation once you decide yourself, and somebody else doesn't have to self-impose a curriculum on you. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool, and that's why I think a lot of people are just kind of that quote unquote growing up. You figure out that no one's going to look out for your best interest better than you.
And
So
yeah,
you decide that you got to do. I'll go ahead, Clay.
yeah. I was just gonna say, you made an interesting comment. In school, we quote unquote have to do well. Well, why do we have to do well? Well, the prototypical, well, you got to get a good grade card and all that sort of stuff. You just got to get good grades. Well, for you, Ricky, I mean, props to you. You had to do well, and like the real world sense of you had no other choice. Like you just had to do real. There was had nothing to do with a report card. You were just in a crappy position in life. So, well done to you. I mean, when you really have to do it, which you did do it. So yeah, that's the only observation is yeah, there's a big difference between I have to do well because I need good grades or I have to do well because well this is actually real life. So sorry to cut you off there, Ches. I'll let you pick back up where you're going.
I was just gonna say, so what, when you recognize that you wanted to be in full control of your finances, 401ks and just kind of, preparing for the future, what avenues did you take to kind of learn about that? Did you Google some stuff? Was it a YouTube search? Were there some books on Amazon?
It's funny because when I was in school, I never read as many books as I read now. Now it's when I do a lot more reading. But I actually went online and I researched a lot of different aspects of the market. When I created my TD Ameritrade account, they gave you like a free, I don't know what the website was called, but it was Investools or something like that, where you can learn. But it was all about numbers and PE scores and ratios and stuff that I really didn't believe in. And I have a music background, so I like the technical analysis aspect of it, and that's where I felt like me reading charts and being able to look at things and see things from a different perspective is more of my things. I don't like to fall in love with companies. I don't really care about products. I just want to be able to look at things from a statistical standpoint. And that's the approach I took. I did find some good free education, but you really have to invest in your education to get the best education. And that's why I took the leap with you guys last year, and it's helped me a lot.
Okay, yeah, no, that's maybe I'm stumbling because I'm like, should I go or not? Because I'll just preface this by saying I'm totally ignorant when it comes to music, so maybe this will be a terrible analogy, but hey, it is what it is. So you kind of music people, are you pretty visual? Because like you have to look at music and you see a bunch of notes. So do you think that had anything to do with it, where you can look at a chart and it's very visual, or is that just a terrible analogy?
No, it's
You can be
that
honest.
makes
That's
sense.
a terrible. Just
No,
so
no,
we're
no,
clear, that's the
that's
worst
good.
thing I've ever heard.
No, it's a visual aspect because I mean, when you're actually engineering and you're putting things on a software, you have to see everything, even the vocal cords, the strands that are coming out onto Pro Tools, and when you're chopping everything up and adding different layers of music. I mean, it's just like having all the indicators and different types of charts that you can use, line, candlestick charts. I mean, it's kind of like that, and I felt like I was more comfortable with that, the difficult than the easy. Like I I'm big on Rubik's cubes. I can do a 5 by 5. Like things that are very difficult, I'm attracted to. The more difficult, the more appealing it is for me.
So you never really finish that. You can do a Rubik's cube 5 by 5. Were you going to say in like 10 seconds, or please
No,
finish
the
that
five
thought?
the 5 by 5 is approximately 30 minutes. That one's not as fast. I got a buddy of mine who could do it in like half the time. But the 3 by 3 is easy. I could do that in like a minute and 20 seconds
You
easily.
hear that, Chaz? Easy, minute and 20 seconds. I can do that thing in like I don't think I've ever done that, and I've tried. So, but it's easy, Chaz.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try to go down this. I'm not even close. I don't think. Yeah, I don't know the technique. I haven't gone into it, but I like the sense that I'm similar to you as well, in the sense that things that are challenging, you take them on as a challenge and something that you want to work towards and get better at. And the market is definitely something like that. The market is its own Rubik's cube, except I don't think there really is a solution. There's only a good way to kind of manage your risk and kind of hopefully take high probability trades.
Yeah, and
Yeah, and
go ahead,
that's
Ricky.
what we talked about earlier in the week. We were in the chat room, and I saw somebody, just trying to find shortcuts and trying to find out the easy way. And in life, it's all about the process. And I think it's not about being right; it's about doing it right. And the process is everything, man. And once that going through all those ups and downs and learning everything is what's going to get you where you need to be and reap the rewards from when you get to that point.
That was a great quote. It's not about what did you say? It's not about being
It's not
right.
about
It's
being
about
right; it's about doing it right. Yep.
yeah. That'll
Beautiful
be in the
quote.
show notes. Yeah, that's a real good quote. I like that a lot. Did you hear that somewhere? Or did that just come out of left field for you?
I probably have. I can't think of where I heard that, but I listen to a lot of motivational speakers. I read a lot of different books. But that's kind of like the mentality that you kind of need to have to be successful. I feel like it's not about just like getting there. It's the journey. You get what I'm saying? Like I'm not the type of person that wants to win the lottery and have billions of dollars. I rather do the work to get there because I mean, for me, I enjoy the process.
Yeah, no, I'm totally that way. I like to just I've always been kind of an entrepreneur by spirit, and I just like to build stuff, but just kind of like companies instead of actually like a house. But yeah, I'm totally with you there. And what's kind of cool about all this is now people don't market it this way, but the stuff that's usually super challenging is also super rewarding. And I mean that in the financial sense too. Now you may not be doing it for the financial sense. You may like the challenge, but the cool part is if you're willing to take on the challenge and work hard, usually those are the areas of life where the rewards are, very solid. But the problem becomes when you turn on the late night infomercial and they're saying, hey, check out this real estate course, or hey, check out this trading thing, or hey, check out this weight loss solution. And all they're focusing on is the end product, whereas the whole in between from point A to Z, all those other letters, they kind of skip over those and don't let you know that that's the true challenge. And it doesn't, come that easy. So that's cool. I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that right from the get-go, you knew this was good at challenging, Rubik's Cube. By the way, Ches, excellent analogy there. Very good. The market is one big old Rubik's Cube. You're absolutely right. So you knew that going in, you accepted that, and you like that. And I think that's where real passion comes from, is you got to actually just know what you're getting into. Whereas, some of these people out there, they don't exactly portray it that way. Did you come across any of that when you were kind of looking around, Ricky? Did you ever have the feeling that, oh, the stock market thing's easy, or did you kind of avoid some of those websites?
Yeah, I mean, like anything in life, everybody wants a handout. Everybody wants the easy way. But like I said, it's all about the process. And I feel like you don't have to be talented to be good at anything. You just have to give the effort. You have to push yourself every day. You got to stay motivated. You got to want it. And if you don't want it, then you're not going to get it. And there's people that just it's either in your DNA and you want to succeed every day, or you're complacent and you're okay with who you are. I think life in general is a never-ending cycle of growth and getting better. And it's not just like, okay, this year I'm going to do this and this year I'm going to do that. It's every day waking up and developing the consistency to think a certain way, to act a certain way, to help others and build on your principles and build on who you are and just make a difference. And I mean, the stock market in general, when I first started, man, the stuff I encountered was ridiculous. And the places I would go to find out information on a stock would be like message boards on Yahoo, and you get all types of hooligans on there that are just asking for this, and just everybody's just poisoning each other's minds and giving their opinions. And if you're trying to trade in that type of environment where you're just getting opinions from others, you're gonna lose. Like 9 times out of 10, you're gonna lose. You might get lucky every now and then, but you are just there are times where I look at that and I'm like, I'm influenced to buy, I'm influenced to sell. Like and you need to know what you're doing and develop a plan. And just, I don't even ask for help. There are times where I don't even like going into the chat room to see, any like alerts or anything like that, because I like to fish on my own and see my own. And when I get influenced by other decisions is when I make mistakes, I feel like.
That's awesome. Okay, so bear with me here, guys. I just had an epiphany. Well, this time. Everybody sit around the story. So I got to, you guys know, but around our community, we're big on, teach a man to fish and he eats forever, give a man a fish, he eats for a day. So hopefully I think that's a Chinese proverb. So what I like what you're saying here, Ricky, is that you don't like, you said the Yahoo message boards, and you're surrounded by a bunch of people that, and maybe one of them is a brilliant guy. You just don't know. So I pictured it as like you go to the fish market, and all that is people, nobody's fishing on their own. Everybody's just trying to hand fish back and forth. Here, take my fish, take my fish, take my fish. And yeah, maybe one of those fish is really good. Maybe one of those fish is filled with poison. Like you were saying, everybody just poisoning their minds. There's only really one way to survive the fish market, and that is just go catch your own fish, learn how to fish on your own. And that way, exactly where it's coming from, what process has been used, and you can be, confident in your decision. And what's super interesting in regard to that chat room comment you made is, the chat room, it's like a fish market, but it's really not. It's more like a fish. I like to picture it as kind of a strategy session where people are like, hey, there's some fish over there. Hey, there's some fish over there. But they're not telling you how to go catch their fish. They're just saying, hey, there's some potential fish over there. Go check out, see if you want to try to catch them on your own. But what I like about what you're saying, Ricky, is you're just saying, what? I want to just find this fishing locations on my own. I don't even want anybody to show me where there might be some fish. So does that make sense, Ches?
Yeah, it's like we like to look at it as like a crowdsourced fish finder. People are just pointing out locations, but at the same time, when people, I deal with a lot of people in the live chat. You can always catch me on there if you guys are listening and did want to have a conversation. But they always want to know, do you guys give buy and sell alerts? No, we do not. What we do is we'll point you out to setups, things that are flagging or, various moving averages, things like that. But we don't ever give anybody a trade plan because, like Ricky said, you need to be in charge of that trade plan. No two people in our group trade the exact same. But yeah, I really like what you said, Clay, is that, the best way to do it is to go find the spot yourself. Because, I know if I catch a fish in a freshwater stream, or I don't know if somebody caught a fish in a little stream that's next to the nuclear power plant. So obviously, one might be a little safer than the other. So these are things that, you nailed it with that.
Okay, good. I was kind of worried once in a while my comments or my thoughts just go down rabbit holes, and before you know it, I'm talking about fish markets. So I'm glad that made sense to at least Ricky and Ches. So I want to go back a little bit, Ricky, and talk about a comment that you made. because you said, I found some good free education, but then you just, you ultimately, invested in what we have to offer, at claytrader.com. So what exactly made you realize that, the free stuff is good, but there's got to be more to it. Walk us through kind of how that all worked, because first off, I'm glad you admitted that there is some good free stuff out there. Ches and I, we don't want to come across like, oh, free stuff out there is garbage. That's not true. But what exactly, kind of just pushed you, over the edge of, I want to take this a little bit further.
I mean, I feel like with anything you do, if you give 120%, if you invest in it, you can get whatever it is that you want. But obviously, it takes sacrifice, and some people don't even want to pay $25 for a little journal to better their lives. But anyhow, what made me really do it was I already started up a broker with Scottrade, and then I ended up switching to TD Ameritrade, and I had a nice platform with charts, and I would follow your videos, and I would just kind of like not puppet trade you. I would just puppet what you were doing on the charts, your support, your resistance, 30-minute charts. What are you seeing that I'm not seeing? And I've seen a bunch of different people online, but your material was the most authentic to me, and that's where it really like captivated me, when I would see price movement based on what you were pointing out, and things would happen, and just seeing strength in stocks and different things like that. And I was like, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's consistent day in and day out. He's coming here. He's not trying to sell me something. He's just an average dude like me that's passionate about something, And that's why I took the leap. And I didn't go buy one course. I didn't do the inner circle. I emailed you guys and asked if there was any Black Friday discounts, and then you said no, and I just took the leap.
Hey, somebody's trusted us right off the get-go. Props to you, Ricky. Most people, and it's understand, I like to give people a hard time. Most people want to buy a course, join the inner circle, just to get their feet wet. Totally understandable, because there's so many scummy and just, I think that speaks for itself out there. But yeah, once in a while we have a Ricky that just says, you know what, I trust these guys. And so thank you very much publicly. I appreciate that. And do you feel good about the decision? I mean, do you feel scammed in any way?
You go across a bunch of different other sites and what people have to offer, and it's not just the price point. I don't really look at the price as far as a thing, because if you're making an investment in yourself, but I think I don't have a high IQ. I feel like I have a high EQ, so I'm able to see the authenticity in certain people. So just coming across you and your videos and how you talk and how you are, and I mean, I don't know, everything was 100% real, and I had no second thoughts, to be honest with you.
Well, how I am is not, just a minute, Ches, because how I am is not very smart. What is an EQ?
It's just emotional intelligence. You can read people, understand how people feel, react a certain way. Yeah.
It's not the traditional you get an A on your final paper type intelligence.
It's a lot of common sense.
It's real world application.
So poker players have high EQ.
Yes.
Good ones should have high EQ. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's pretty cool. But I forgot whose podcast it was, but they said, Clay comes off like if he was a plumbing truck, Clay has the old Chevy truck instead of the brand new F-350 that has a bunch of lights on it and stuff, because he's a real person. He actually does this stuff. But I wanted to touch a little bit on, you said you didn't puppet trade, Clay, and I don't actually think you did it all, but I think what you were doing is what a lot of people kind of miss out on the education sense, is that when you were watching Clay set up these support, resistance, trend lines, things like that, what you were doing is you were mimicking somebody who's done this for over 10 years. Right. And in my opinion, the way that we go through the courses and stuff like that, this is not a sales pitch at all. I'm just saying why I think it works to help speed up the process for people versus just doing it themselves. You're mimicking somebody who's done it for 10 years. You start to develop that vision. And would you say that's kind of a safe thing to say, that the more you do it, the more lines you put on, the longer you see these things kind of work out, and, the quote unquote self-fulfilling prophecies? Does that help you in your trading now?
Oh, for sure, man. My chart vision is, I believe, out of this world. And I've only gotten better, and I continue to get better, and I see things. And I read a couple different books, and it's just, I catch on to so many little things now, and it all started with that.
No, I'm not trying to throw, books or anything like that under the bus. So just be honest with me here, because I'm always curious. I like to ask people this, because one of the reasons I even created stuff was when I was getting started, I tried to read a couple books, and I don't know. To know that they picked some little perfect picture out of thousands and thousands of examples, it just never quite floated my boat. So those books that you read for technical analysis, were they helpful? Or is there just a big difference between books and actual kind of video courses?
The the video courses are obviously a lot easier when you get a visual and you can hear somebody talk, and it just captivates you a little bit more. The books were good for me though. I think I haven't read a bunch of. I read books that were recommended and that are definitely high in quality. But it wasn't about the books aren't about buy here, sell here. It was more about like stage analysis, using multiple time frames to trade, momentum strategies, and that people use for entries and exits. Just a bunch of things that people use that I feel like probably goes into like HFT and high frequency trading, as far as like how they get like just the simple things that computers can catch on to. Um, it just brought me a different side of the spectrum. You're able to see different things from a different point of view. And these guys that I read the books from are successful people and have done very well in the markets. And one of the books that I read, I think I have it here. It's called Stan Weinstein's Secrets for Profiting in Bull and Bear Markets. I read this whole book and I love this book, man. And when I read the ending of it, I realized that the guy lives in Hollywood, Florida, which is where I was born and raised, which is very weird how that book ended up just getting to me and how I ended up reading it. But it just sets you up for success. It emphasizes on risk management, and I think that's the number one thing to being a successful trader.
And I think it's also good to note out that Ricky isn't reading these books in an effort to find the Holy Grail. That is not the point of him reading these books. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, is they want to buy a book or they want to buy an automated strategy or something that, just like those late night infomercials that, that one size fits all. You have this ailment, just buy this right here. Now, Ricky's looking to expand his mind and kind of, like he said, you work with somebody who's successful, absorb how they kind of got to where they are. And that's the biggest difference, is that's in an effort to, move himself forward. He's not looking for the Holy Grail, and that's where a lot of people kind of go wrong. But so I know you had full trust in us. We're happy to hear that. We'd love that you joined the program. Now, how did your trading go after you kind of got through the courses? Did you become a instant millionaire, and then a New York Times bestseller for your book on trading the markets is great? Tell us how it went after you got educated and hopped into the live markets.
It definitely went a lot smoother. I began to trade with a plan, which I had never done before. So I think the big thing is just finding your personality and who you are as a trader and what you really like to do. And reading these books actually helped me a lot on that too, because which is something that you guys don't emphasize on, which I talk to other people about. When you stand in front of a screen and you're looking and you're trying to day trade, you see all these things moving and what looks like opportunities. And when you're just bored there and you don't know how to sit on your hands and just like process everything, that's where you make mistakes. When I first started, man, I was over trading, spending a ton in commissions. Everything I saw, I couldn't just sit there. I wanted to be entertained, basically. And so I realized, what do I want in the future? I have to see myself in 10 years and then work my way back. So I told myself, I don't want to be in front of the screen all day. I want to be a swing trader. But I don't want to hold on to things as an investor. I don't want to hold on to them for a couple months or years. Unless the market allows it, but right now it's not the time for that. So if I don't want the screen time, then I have to cut down on being a day trader, and I have to higher my time frames. And I think that when you come into this new, I think it's a lot easier to master everything on a higher time frame and then work your way down to a lower time frame. When you start out and you see all these candlesticks and different things like that on small time frames, they might seem very bullish, but on the bigger picture, things are very bearish. And that's where it's like I took a step back and I decided, okay, I'm going to swing trade. And then reading these books, I actually developed my own type of strategy, which is a multi-time frame momentum trend trading strategy that I've implemented. Obviously, the markets are not trending. We've been a little choppy, but right now we're kind of breaking into this bearish cycle, which they're saying is a correction. But I like there's a guy that I read. I have another one of his books. His name's Brian Shannon, and his theory on things is guilty until proven innocent. So that's my mindset. And that's the mindset I'm going to have until, we break out to new highs and different things like that. I'm going to just say we're in a bearish trend until I'm proven otherwise. Which I spoke to you about that, Ches, and you said, "Oh, you want to see it break this level." And everybody has their own personality. It's
And that's the thing.
That's the key thing.
I love that I'm happy that we had this podcast kind of right after the conversation, because I have my line in the sand and you have your thesis on the market, and that further proves, though, that even if we have kind of a differing opinion on this, the thing is that we both understand how we're going to manage our risk and kind of plan our trades. I think that's so awesome, is that you can have kind of two, they're not so much conflicting, but they're just not in full agreement. And that's the beauty of the market. And that totally ties back into your other thing where you said, everyone has to find their personality in the market. I think you completely nailed it, and that's what definitely comes out towards when you're trying to take an outlook on the market.
Oh, I promise this is going to sound so rigged, but I literally wrote down, well, you guys can't see my cam anymore. Anyways, I wrote down on this piece of paper, finding your personality, because I wanted to come back and ask Ricky to define that. And then you guys just had the perfect conversation, would answer that question. So yeah, I was with you, Ches. I found that just finding your personality, that's exactly the key. And just to add on a little bit more to that, finding your personality has all to do with risk, the root cause of risk. What do I mean by that? Well, I don't like skydiving. I don't really like roller coasters. I would never go scuba diving in some underwater cave. Now, maybe you're listening saying, what a little wimp. I would love to do that. Well, that just shows our different personality in regards to risk. And risk is what trading is all about. How much risk are you willing to take? How much risk do you feel comfortable with? And we all differ there. We just saw the conversation right there. And I wasn't aware that you guys had a conversation like that in the chat room. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, as Ches put it, line in the sand, it's going to be different for everybody. And I want to talk a little bit more about this because great point, Ricky. And man, that we let you talk for a little bit and you packed out like 15 talking points. So let's kind of go back here and go through some things. So you said, no, the chat room, I'm at the screen time. I want to be entertained. Oh, that's so true. And I actually just did a video on this where I titled it, chat rooms are healthy. And I'm not saying our chat room, maybe somebody else's chat room, but my whole argument in that is that very point is boredom is a huge day trade killer because, like Ricky just said, we want to be entertained. So my whole premise in the video, and we'll put that in the show notes for this, but when you get bored as a day trader, instead of forcing a trade, if you're a part of a community, you can go and just, our chat room, for example, hey, has anybody seen, this movie that just came out or that movie? Or you talk, we have so many random conversations. It's kind of scary, but it's good. It's healthy because instead of entertaining ourselves by putting our money on the line in some stupid trade, we're entertaining ourselves with just innocent conversation that is keeping our money safe. So like I said, it's funny how you brought that up about wanting to be entertained. And I just put that, yeah, I might as well stop talking. I think this all sounds rigged. Everybody's going to think, oh, whatever. You guys had all this staged, but we really do promise that this is how it went. So, but yeah, that's super entertaining. And that's what you meant by entertained, right, Ricky? Is you just felt like you had to be in a trade?
Yeah, and I needed to see that P&L. I needed to see things move up and down. And that's where day trading for me is, that's not my strong suit. My strong suit is swing trading and finding the right opportunity and just building, a position. And I find that a lot of young traders, because I'm obviously, I haven't been doing this for as long as you or anybody else, but I feel like from where I'm successful, and I have very good discipline skills, which I've got from I'm 25 years old, but I have the mindset of a 50-year-old. So,
we got another Ches on our hands. Get off my lawn.
That's me.
But you have to find what you're doing and what you want to be in the future. And are you okay with sitting in front of your screen and looking at your P&L go up and down and see like a 300? I watched you trade the other day, Clay, one of your trading videos, and you were down like $376, and then it'd go to like down $500, and then it's back up to like 150. Like seeing that, for me personally, just staring at the P&L would just drive me crazy mentally. And it's not the whole risk thing. I think it's just seeing the numbers and especially the way the market is, it like toys with you. And I think that for me to fight that is to go on a higher time frame, try to get the best entry I can, and then trade my plan out.
Yeah, a little hint there, because that's interesting. I don't watch my P&L because I know that if I start watching and seeing those numbers, the voices come out and then they screw up my system and strategy. I watch the chart, And when the chart tells me to start to think otherwise, then I will glance down and see where things are at. But while I'm trading, those numbers, they're not real. That's why they call it unrealized gains or losses, because they're just a little snapshot within a bigger picture of my overall strategy and what I'm trying to accomplish. So, but I totally see that. But a little for you listeners out there, I'm not watching those numbers because they would freak me out. They would screw up my mind, and they would let me, they would cause me to, just veer off the path of what my system and strategy is. Now, another thing, like I said, you made all sorts of talking points. I thought that this was so true, and I don't know if I've ever thought about it. I don't know if anybody's brought it up, but I want Chez's thoughts here. You said, when you're starting out, if you start out on those smaller time frames, something could look bullish, but then in the grand scheme of things, it's actually bearish. And fully agree. Great point. But the other thing that just dawned on me is, starting out on the 2-minute chart, meaning if you're new, every 2 minutes, you're getting more information. So 2 minutes goes by, information. Another 2 minutes, more information. 2 minutes, more information. So that's a lot of information coming at you quick. And if you're just getting started, I mean, that's like day trader type level where you got to be able to think very, very quickly, like snap of the finger, because there's constantly new information coming. So, Chez, I mean, that was pretty much, that's a brilliant piece of advice there, don't you think?
It is a brilliant piece of advice, and I can kind of speak to that, on a personal level as well, is because obviously after I joined, I wanted to trade very short term like Clay does in his videos because I, had a full-time job. I was going to trade before I went to work. But the thing is that your brain, just like we make other examples all the time, a brain surgeon doesn't start doing surgery after 1 week in medical school. He goes through the 10 years, 12 years, whatever it is. So I got completely slaughtered when I got in, and because you just are not capable, maybe you are, this isn't a dig at anybody at all, but, your brain is not up to speed to kind of handle that much information that fast. And I'm not talking about, having 15, moving averages and indicators on there. It could be just the price alone. It just moves too fast as a new trader. And I fully agree that people should start off on a wider time frame. And I'm not going to lie, I actually did not find much trading success at all until I moved all the way to the daily. Trading, options, whether it was long options or short advanced options. And it's only just now that I've stepped down the time frame back to a much shorter range, like the 5-minute, because I've given more money away trading the short-term trades, being in conflict with the larger term time frames. Like Ricky said, I could see a huge bullish run on the 2-minute, and then I look at the 15-minute and it's just a complete bear river, and I'm completely fighting the trend, and I think I'm, how could this trade not work out? It looks so bullish. And yeah, I completely agree that starting out in a wider time frame is easily would have saved me a ton of money, and I would recommend it for anybody who's starting new.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm right. I mean, Ricky just gave us like 20 talking points in his last little spiel. Yeah. I mean, this is
podcast over, man. Forget it, Ricky. Good job. You have a 10-minute podcast now.
I don't think if we did, I don't remember. So my apologies. But did you ever struggle with losing when you first got started, or was that always something that you just accepted? Hey, that's part of this business.
That's another thing I want to talk about. You have to come into this with the right mindset. And I came into the mindset that I will lose money. There is no way I'm going to be able to compete with high-frequency trading machines and algorithmic trading and these guys that have been doing it for 20, 25, 30, 50 years. So I came in with the mindset that I will lose. But I also can't.
How did you generate that mindset? Because that's something we definitely do not hear, at least in the history of the podcast so far. Most people do not come in with hey, I'm going to lose. And were you okay with that too?
I was okay with it.
Okay, so you understand you're going to lose and you're okay with it. That may be a first. So how exactly did you develop this mindset?
Well, I mean, I've experienced a lot of loss in my life in my family. I had a brother and sister pass away while my father was in prison, and I was going through all this other stuff. So that's another reason why, like, it's okay. Listen, I think failure is when you give up on something. Okay, that's first and foremost. But I came in here with the right mindset that I will lose, and it's like going to a casino. If you go in there thinking you're gonna win, you're gonna kill the house, and you're out there betting $100 hands, you're gonna lose your ass. If you go in there playing small size and managing your risk, knowing that hey, you could everything you came here with, you could potentially lose, but you're playing the right way, you could be successful. But it's being able to survive is what I was just focused on. Just, can I survive? And that's my mindset. Am I going to be able to survive? I wasn't worrying about thriving. That you get when you become great at something, and it's like second nature. But yeah, when you're new, it's just about surviving. And then once you get it down packed, once you understand, once you're comfortable, once you're not worried about a position you just took on, then you can thrive.
And I love it because, obviously you've experienced a lot of loss and hardship, growing up, but it's also shaped you to be the man you have. And the thing is that your ego didn't need to be checked at the door. You understood that just like anything in life, if you focus on the process, the fruits of it come later. It's not about the profits. You did not pick up trading to just make $1 million in 6 months and chill on a beach. You wanted to get proficient at it. You saw it as a challenge, and I couldn't. I'm tearing up over here. I'm literally tearing up over here
Yeah,
because
I gotta hop in here too and just drill it home. If you being you listeners, if you want to get into trading because I want those fancy cars, I want the beautiful women, you're gonna fail. If you're getting into trading, oh, that sounds challenging. That sounds like a big old Rubik's cube. Hey, you got a chance. So big distinction there because that's so true. Ricky got into this because he liked the challenge, not because he saw some website with a bunch of fancy cars or some little yacht party where everybody's drinking Cristal or whatever those MTV people drink. He was actually being realistic about it. So yeah, I had to chime in there. I'm not tearing up. I'm ready to run through a wall and tackle somebody. So
yep.
anyways,
But,
Ches, I know you have another question for him, but I my adrenaline took over, so I'm gonna throw my adrenaline under the bus there.
No, I mean there's just a bunch of gold in this podcast. It's great. But so I guess here's a question more current for us now though is what particular vehicle are you trading? Is it options? Is it futures? Is it equities? I know you're ideally focusing on a longer term time frame, but what specific strategy are you applying to your trading right now? I know you mentioned it's kind of momentum trend following. Obviously, the market conditions are drastically different now than they were, a month or two ago. But how are you trading? What's your strategy right now?
So we're not trending. I mean, we weren't trending all last year. I trade equities. I want to learn options. I feel like I could trade bigger names, um, and kind of manage risk better. But it's based on momentum, right? So what I try to do is find trend alignment. So I met this gentleman. His name is Han, and he introduced me to a book, and I read it, and it talked about when three time frames align together, it creates like a powerful like a little trend, kind of like what Clay does on a short time frame where he can scalp. I'm able to do that from a longer time frame for like 2 to 3 days, maybe 5 days tops. But it's just finding these stocks that are aligned in a monthly, weekly, and a daily time frame. That's what I mainly look for. I look for stocks that are maybe it depends what the market is doing. So right now I've been shorting stocks. So it's based all on what the market is doing. So if since we're below our 150-day moving average in a SPY, I'm shorting stocks, but I'm looking for something where it's low risk, like a good entry point. I look for stocks that close below their 30-day moving average. And then I use a MACD indicator to find trend alignment and momentum crossovers on a bigger time frame. And if all three time frames are in agreement with each other, you can get a nice little scalp. And yeah, that's what I look for, and that's how I've been doing my trading. It's kind of different. It's kind of confusing at points, but it works for me, and yeah, I've been doing pretty good with it.
Well, I mean, it should sound confusing to me. It doesn't sound confusing, but I can see somebody that's new thinking, "Well, that sounds like a lot. That sounds confusing." Well, yeah, nobody said this was easy. That's why those late night infomercials. That's why those websites. That's why that ad you saw on your Facebook page is being a little deceiving when they make it sound like follow my system. Well, a good system, as Ricky is describing, it takes a little bit more into it. You made a comment, and I want to talk about it. You're doing, you're making trades based off what the market is doing. You didn't say based off what I think the market's going to do. Dive a little bit more in that. So are you telling me that you're not sitting here using charts as a crystal ball?
No, you definitely can't see the future. You can see what's happening now. I took Steve Neeson's candlestick pattern, like it was a course I spent money on, and it talks about like these different, like what a hammer is, like just the real candlesticks from one of the guys who's been doing it for so long. So I'll also trade certain candlesticks that I see, but I forgot your question. What'd you ask
I
me?
was just asking. So you're telling me that charts are not a crystal ball? I mean, you're not like they're not
No,
predicting the future.
they're not going to tell you what is going to happen, but they can tell you what is happening, and that's why I talked about the candlestick patterns. You can see the indecision. You can see the strength at support or at resistance, or you can see things better with your chart vision if you build on that aspect or build on your knowledge of candlesticks and and yeah, I think knowing the story of what's going on now is the key thing, and seeing is this strength, is this weakness, what direction are we in right now? Where can we move? Where's the risk? And that's basically what I do to help with my trading.
Fantastic, because one of my biggest pet peeves is people that are out there and they're totally just giving charts a bad name because they're trying to say like there's some sort of crystal ball. They market them as a crystal ball, they sell them as a crystal ball, or they're treating them like some sort of crystal ball. Like, yeah, these things are going to tell a future. No, Ricky summed it up perfectly. If you want a little bit more on that, I have a video how charts actually work. So we'll link that in the show notes too. But yeah, charts are just telling us a story. You know, they're a way that we can help plan for uncertainty. Plan for uncertainty. It might be a bad plan, but hey, you know what? That's where risk management and all that stuff comes into play. So well done. I was really hoping you were not going to say, "Oh yeah, charts are a crystal ball." I'm like, "Oh, I should have asked that question," but good. It went well. So we talked about kind of what you're looking to do. Actually, can you walk us through just a trade, or off the top of your head, like you said you traded Fox today? Can you just walk us through a little bit more details on that? Just curious. Kind of walk us through
Okay.
from point A to point B.
So from the beginning of the year, we've been in like this bear trend, just getting killed. So recently we had like a little pop, and then we tested the support again. And what I like to do is look at the ADX for momentum. That kind of gives me every day. I look at the SPICE ADX to see momentum if it's trending. And right now we're kind of trending on the bear side. So I saw that it went from being like 1.73 to 2.7. It was very powerful, and just yesterday it kind of died off. It was like 0.25. So which means the bear trend is easing. It doesn't mean it's gonna go up or continue. We don't know, but I was expecting like a little bounce. So I decided to trade 21st Century Fox from the long side. It's right near a grandma number. So I put in an entry at 24. Oh, no, wait, let me see what it's at right now, because I think it's 26. But I put it right below the whole number. I bought it at 25.99 because I had a feeling that these algos were gonna just try to flush everybody out and then get right back in. That's something I've been trying to be aware on too. A lot of these they aim for your stops. I feel like they buying at whole numbers. I used to like try to skip the line and buy above the whole number to guarantee an entry, but I realized what that does is makes my risk a little bit bigger. You know, I gotta if I want the stop where it needs to be, I gotta lower my entry. So I did that. I haven't really checked the position yet. I don't even know where we're at. Well, it's at 26.16.
You're up.
So
Yeah,
I'm
you're
up.
up.
Yeah, I'm up 16 cents. I'll probably hold this maybe for a day or two. I'm only trying to get like 60 cents out of it, and then let it run if it wants to run, or if we go back down, then I'll just trade it to the downside.
Very cool. Very cool. So, obviously, an important question is, and I know that you do a lot of kind of self-reflection and focus on improvement. So, I'm very interested to hear your answer to this. But what would you say are your current strengths, and what are some weaknesses that you're working on going forward here in 2016?
My strength is my ability to self-assess. I feel like I can look at myself and really talk to myself, and it's kind of cheesy. Well, I'm sure Clay does a lot of this
We
too.
like cheese. Bring on the cheese.
I'll actually write down stuff that I've done wrong. My trading journal is not about any of my great trades or things that I've done great. It's all my trading journal is all my losses, what I did wrong, what I could have done better, and that's something too. Like you can't just be negative. You have to be positive as well. So when I do point a negative, I come out with a solution. So if I say, "Oh, I got stopped out," it's I need to work on an entry. I should have put this lower. The other day, I was trading on Thinkorswim and I didn't realize that I had my auto send on, and I ended up buying something I didn't even realize it, and took almost like a $200 loss on that. But it's just like these are things that are right in there, and it's like, oh, I wasn't responsible, or you gotta just stay and self-assess and really talk to yourself. As far as strengths, would be my chart vision. That's something that I feel like I've got really good on. What are my weaknesses? My weaknesses is patience. I would say anybody is just you want to see your reward. You want to see the profit,
You
and
want to be
sometimes
entertained, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is. There was a
Yep.
trade earlier in the year, XL, EXCL, or something like that, and I saw it
Yep, you're a
consolidate.
trader. You have no idea what these tickers are. You're just well done. That's how I
Yeah.
am. I don't know. It had three or four letters. I don't know.
And I remember it consolidating, and I was like, "Oh, this looks like if it can get above here, it can this can break out." So I ended up buying like a small position, and it went up a little, and it was like consolidating, still consolidating, and I got kind of tired of it, and I was already up like a couple $100. So I was like, "Oh, I'll take my profit, whatever, and I'll move on to the next trade." But I didn't let it play out, and then like literally the next day, it jumped like 2 3 points, and yeah, I wanted to shoot myself in the foot. But that has happened to me a lot. It's just being patient, and if it's not going against me, just to stick with my plan. A lot of people try to micromanage your trade plan, and once you have a trade plan, just let it play out. Don't try to change anything that you thought of unless the market is going against you. And I've even when it's not going against me, I find myself being impatient and trying to take profit, or moving up my stop when it doesn't need to be moved up, and I don't know. And then I make mistakes and I get stopped out, and then it takes off without me.
Well, you've definitely identified some common things that many people struggle with. And yeah, I mean, you're definitely on the path to correct them. So well done. So we're going to move into some fun questions now, the questions that really matter. First off, you ready for this, Ches?
Never.
Ches, go surfing. You and Ricky can go surfing after this, since I'm sure it's so beautiful. But what is your favorite movie, Ricky?
My favorite movie, I'm a big comedy buff, man. I would have to say Step Brothers has recently been one of my favorite ones.
Did we just become best friends?
Yeah. That's probably my favorite one. Um, I mean, I got a lot of old school. I like have you seen The Bone Collector by
Oh, yeah, that's with Denzel Washington, right?
yeah, that one was. I'm a big Denzel guy too, man. His movies like
Same,
they
same.
captivate me.
Crimson Tide, I think a very underrated role for him. That movie's got some intense scenes.
No, for sure.
So, what would you say is your favorite meal and dessert?
My favorite meal, hands down, green spaghetti with steak. I'm Peruvian and Puerto Rican. My grandmother makes something called tallarines verde, which is green spaghetti. It's like in pesto sauce with a nice steak. That's my ideal meal. As far as dessert, my fiance, she's Italian, well, Sicilian, and her family makes tiramisu, which I was introduced to uh, when I when we got together, and that is my favorite dessert, hands down. I wish I would have found that a lot earlier.
So I'm hanging out with two engaged guys right now, huh? Very nice.
You are.
When are you getting married, Ricky?
It is still in the works. We're trying to figure everything out. My father just got out of prison last year, so now we're actually working on it. We're trying to buy a house, so I probably got to contact you regarding what you recommend to do, and if it's the right time to even purchase a home right now.
I'll talk real estate all day long.
Yeah,
But
I need some help with that.
I'm going to go Dr. Phil on you here. Just enjoy the process, okay?
No, for sure.
IT
That's
Nate,
what
who
it's
is
all
our
about.
producer, we're always trying to tell Ches, hey, look, man, don't let it get too stressed out for a wedding. Just try to enjoy it the best you can. So, but yeah, this is not Dr. Phil hour, so I'll just leave it at that. What sort of hobbies do you have outside of trading and just liking challenges in general? Do you have any sort of kind of hobbies that you like to do to kind of unwind and just chill out?
So I have a job. I'm a general manager at a restaurant here in Miami. I consider trading as one of my hobbies, but I'm very passionate about it. So I don't know. It could potentially be another job, but my other hobby would be my business that I'm working on. I've been working on a business for the last 3 years. It's called Craft Tap Co. Um, at Craft Tap Co. If you want to check it out on Instagram. It's not fully developed yet. I just finished my branding and identity, and I'm working on a prototype to take it to the next level. But it's all about craft beer. That's what it's about. If you're
All right,
wondering.
Ches, be sure to link that in the show notes. He was
Yep.
kind enough to hang out with us, so we'll definitely link to his Instagram account then.
Definitely. And it is all about craft beer. I got to fully agree with Ricky. So I'm actually excited that it's so, I love these podcasts because we just have such a wide variety of members. It's awesome. But obviously, a very important question that we ask all of our guests here is if I was to lend you my time machine, you could go back, and I'm actually going to leave this open ended to whatever time you wanted. What is one piece of advice you would give yourself?
I mean, I felt like I haven't done anything great. Like I listen to these guys trade penny stocks, and I didn't trade penny stock. The one stock that really got me into the market was Mankind, and
MNKD. Yep.
yeah, and that took me on an emotional roller coaster. But I always stayed disciplined, and when I was skeptical, I'd always lower my size. I'm very disciplined. I'd probably want to go back and just learn it earlier. Like I teach myself when I was 17 versus when I was like 22. That would probably be the most ideal thing, because learning at a younger age would help me be even more successful now.
No, I'm fully there. And whenever I get emails from people and they're like, hey, I'm 16, hey, I'm 17, hey, I'm 18, I always make the comment, I'm jealous of you. I didn't really get interested into this around, age 22-ish, right around there. I'm like, man, if I'd started at age 16 or 17 or 18, that's like a 4-year head start. And that time really adds up. So yeah, I'm fully with you on that answer. I mean, yeah, because those years are pretty precious and can really add up. But hey, later is better than never. Final question. 3 words, what would you associate with a successful trader using just 3 words?
Discipline, patience, and effort.
Ooh, effort. I like that one. I don't know if we've had that one or not, but yeah.
Effort's a new one. Yep.
Yeah, that's short, sweet, but oh so true. Well, Ricky, I think we definitely have to have you back at some point. So many bullet points and talking points that we didn't even, get to. So, did you have fun? Would you ever come back and join us again?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think I gave you guys some nuggets as far as like the journey. I'm kind of glad we did. I was kind of scared we were going to get into just talking tickers and just, because a lot of these guys, they go through these roller coasters where they lose a bunch of money and do different things like that. But I haven't had any craziness, and knock on wood, hopefully it stays that way. But yeah, I think the future looks bright for me, and I got a lot of great habits, and hopefully some of this has helped somebody else out.
No, trust me on this one. There will be at least
certainly
one.
has.
At least one person that finds some nuggets of wisdom. Cough, cough. Start on higher time frames. Cough, cough. That you brought up that can be very helpful. So again, Ricky, thank you very much for hanging out.
All right, thank you guys. Have a great week.
For those of you listening, if you enjoyed this and want to just keep up to date on things, couple of things, subscribe to us on iTunes. Also leave us a rating. Little things like that go a long way. If you're listening to this at claytrader.com, please click that share button and leave us a comment. We read them, and all feedback is always appreciated. As long as we keep seeing that there's interest out there, Ches and I will be happy to continue to interview people and hear the cool stories, because this was just another classic example of that. So thank you for hanging out with us, and we will see you back for the next episode.
This has been the Stock Trading Reality Podcast. Thanks for taking the time to hang out. To learn more about Clay and the Clay Trader community, including the trading team, premium training, and more, visit claytrader.com.